Hello, everyone. Pastor B here on the marriage of my youth. God bless you for being here today. Do well to like, share, and subscribe, and be a blessing to others even as we journey together. So today we want to consider a very important topic, and that is the wisdom to run your marriage. The wisdom to run your marriage. Very, very important. The Bible says that wisdom is the principal thing. And so we should strive to get wisdom because it is very important, most especially in this institution of marriage that is not spoken about so much in our churches today. I want to use the Bible passage, Proverbs 9:10, in order to show us something quickly. That is our anchor scriptures for today's session. Proverbs 9, verse 10 is a very popular passage. I want you to catch a few things in it quickly. So, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And then the part B says, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. And the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Now, I was reading that in the New King James Version of the Bible. Let me read that in the Amplified version of the Bible, AMP. So the AMP says, and I want you to pay attention to a few words in the AMP because I'm going to deal with those words. The reverent fear of the Lord, that is, worshiping Him and regarding Him as truly awesome, is the beginning and the preeminent part. Preeminent part. Take note of that word. Preeminent part of wisdom. Its starting point and its essence. And the part B of the AMP says, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding and spiritual insight. And the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding and spiritual insight. Very key. So let me give you the punchline here quickly. If God is not preeminence in your marriage, you do not have the wisdom to run your marriage. If God is not preeminence in your marriage, you do not have the wisdom to run your marriage. I will explain as we go further. Now, if we want to unpack that passage, let me show you a few things in it quickly. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Now, beginning can also mean foundation. So if God is not the foundation that you are building your marriage on, it is only the matter of time that is going to be destroyed when the storms and the winds of life hits. We know that we are living in a world that is not perfect. We serve a perfect God. We are living in a world, however, that is not perfect, that is full of chaos. In fact, Jesus said, in this world, you will face tribulations, trials. The good news is that we should be of good cheer because He has overcome the world. But as long as we are in this world, the challenges of this world, we will be faced with them. So, the fear of the Lord is the beginning. It's not the totality of the wisdom of God, but it is the beginning of the wisdom of God. So, that beginning can also mean a foundation. So, we have read through the Bible that unless the Lord build, whoever that builds will be building in vain. So, if it is not God that is the foundation of this marriage that you are building, you are already building on a faulted ground or on sandy ground. So by the time the storm and the winds hit, we know the end result of that marriage, and it will be destruction. And sadly, this is what we are seeing in our generation today. We have a lot of faulty foundation that marriage is built on for many reasons. And by the time the storm of life hits, by the time the wind of life hits, we see marriages going helter scatter. We see even people that are in the church getting out of marriages. Why? Because they have not come to the place where their marriage is run with or by the wisdom of God. Now, let's go a little further into that passage. So, when you know Him, you will understand Him. And when you understand Him, you will fear Him. Now, I want to show you the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Now, it doesn't start from wisdom. It starts from knowledge. When you know Him, you will come to the place where you understand Him. And this knowledge is beyond head knowledge. And that is the spiritual insight that the Bible talks about in the Amplified Version. So when you know Him, you will understand Him. And when you understand Him, you will fear Him. And that fear is reverence. And that is the wisdom that you need in order to run this marriage. Now, you see, wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge. So by the reason of knowing this God, which speaks of your personal relationship with Him, personal intimacy, encounter with Him, will bring you to the place of understanding Him. And by the time you come to the place of understanding, you will now come to the place where you make Him preeminence in your marriage. And what that means is that for Him to be preeminence in your marriage is that He is everything. He is the foundation, He is the body, He is the roof, He is everything. You do not do anything, absolutely anything, in that marriage without God being part of it. So that is very, very key. So when you come to terms that He is preeminence in your marriage, you do not run that marriage by yourself, but you go by His leading and you follow His design. Because when you come to terms that He is preeminence, you have come to terms that He created marriage, He instituted this institution, and He owns everything, He knows everything, and nothing comes close to Him. That is preeminence. That He is superior beyond your emotions, beyond yourself, beyond your human wisdom. He is superior over everything. So you make Him the God. That's the right word. You make Him the God of that marriage, putting Him in His rightful position in that marriage. That is wisdom, and that is the wisdom that you need to run that marriage. I'll give you an example. Wisdom is you, for example, having an iPhone and giving an iPhone to the manufacturer, which is Apple, for them to maintain that phone and make sure that phone runs properly. That is wisdom. Instead of having iPhone and giving it to the manufacturer of Samsung to maintain it, that is not wisdom. You see, in as much as they are dealing with phone, our phone is unique, and the manufacturer of our phone knows what to do with our phone. Simple. So marriage is unique, and marriage was instituted by God. So by you giving Him that place as preeminence in that marriage means you are walking in wisdom. And you do not just give it by words of mouth, but you follow His leading, you follow His command, you follow the template that He have laid out for marriage in the Bible. You follow it to the letter, and most importantly, to the spirit, and you will have insight, spiritual intelligence, spiritual wisdom to lead your marriage. Very, very key. So, the wisdom to run your marriage is the fear of the Lord that makes him preeminence in your marriage. Very, very important. Now, this is the first of the 7 foundational laws of marriage, that God is preeminence. He owns all things, He created all things, and He is superior to all things. Nothing comes close to Him. That is great. That is awesome. With that level of reverence to God, He will be able to look after you and your marriage, and you will see that you will become a blessing and a wonder in your generation. Very key. So the reverence, to reverence Him, honor Him, and obey Him, and give Him His place in your marriage as preeminence is wisdom. And that wisdom is based on your knowledge and understanding of Him. So the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding, is spiritual insight. So you start from knowledge, you gain understanding, and you apply wisdom. And that wisdom is to make Him, give Him His utmost respect and reverence Him beyond all things. That will be a blessing for you. Now, we understand that marriage is universal, and there are different types of wisdom. But you cannot run your marriage on a different kind of wisdom and expect the result of God's wisdom. And this is the struggle with believers today. Believers are taking different kinds and types of wisdom, and they are running their marriages with those wisdoms, and they are expecting the result of God's wisdom. It's not possible. It's not possible. So you will have to follow the wisdom of God to get the result of the wisdom of God. You cannot follow the wisdom of tradition and culture and Western system and this world and still want to get the result of God's wisdom. That is not possible. That is our struggle today. Now, in 1 Corinthians 3:19, so you will see that the part A is my emphasis. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. Period. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. Now you can see now that there is a wisdom that is from above, which is from God, but there are also wisdoms that are on this earth. There is the wisdom of men. There is the wisdom of the principalities, the rulers of darkness of this age. So there are different kinds of wisdom, but if we do not come to the place where we follow the wisdom of God pertaining marriage as the manufacturer, the creator, the designer of marriage, we do not have the wisdom to run marriage. And as I said, our world today, we follow the wisdom of tradition, we follow the wisdom of culture, we follow the wisdom of the Western system, and we are expecting God's result in our marriages. That is not going to happen. So today we see that the wisdom of tradition and culture, where man is the boss, even believers are following that. And we also see that the wisdom of Western marriages, where liberalism is the order of the day, where anyone can do anything and nobody can tell them anything. So the wife can do her own thing, the husband can do her own thing, and everybody is free. So we want to follow those kind of wisdom and still expect God to be the center. It doesn't work like that. We'll have to go back to the design and make Him preeminence in our marriage. And that is only when we will see the hand of God and the wisdom of God for us to run our marriages. Very, very key. Now, let me show you something. In 1 Corinthians 1:24, The Bible speaking that Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. We see that Jesus is both the power of God and the wisdom of God. Now that brings you into this kingdom. So, and it does not just stop there. And speaking of salvation up to your relationship with Christ. Now, when you come into this kingdom and follow the patterns and the design of Christ, remember, he is the husband of the church. So he understands a thing or two about marriage. And the way you turn marriage. In fact, when Paul was trying to explain some deep mysteries about marriage, he linking Christ in the whole picture. So in order for us to walk according to the design and the wisdom and the template of marriage, we will have to look at Christ critically in order to follow that pattern, in order to get it right, in order to have the wisdom of God to do or to run our marriages. So Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God, it is very key. So when we are able to follow his design, his pattern, how he dealt with the church and how he dealt with God, we will see that it is key for us to come into that wisdom, and we can follow the wisdom of Christ, and we will be able to follow the wisdom of God to run our marriages. Very, very key. Now, I was running to come and show you one passage quickly, and I want to make this very short today. James chapter 3, verse 17. A very unique passage, and I want to take time here and show you a few things. I want to read a few things out there for you. James 3, verse 17. The Bible says that, but the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. That is profound. That is the wisdom that the wisdom from culture, the wisdom from tradition, the wisdom from the Western system, the contemporary marriages, they do not come close to this wisdom. The wisdom of the world do not come anywhere near this wisdom. I read it one more time and I begin to explain a few things for you. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruit, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Now, if the men of God were just going to stop at the wisdom that is from above is pure, that would have been good enough, and that would have been it would have beat every other wisdom that is on this earth. The wisdom that is from above is pure. Now, that is good enough to run your marriage. If you are able to run your marriage on purity, it is great enough. But the Bible did not stop there. Now, every other wisdom in this world is corrupted. The wisdom of men is corrupted. The wisdom of the prince of this age is corrupted. Any wisdom you think about is corrupted. Only the wisdom that is from above. And the way you attain this wisdom is by making God preeminence, making him superior, making him the foundation and the center of this marriage, that he will bring you to the place where you know him, you understand him, and from there he gave you spiritual insight, and from that knowledge of spiritual insight you can now apply this wisdom. I will give you an example in a bit. Now he said, but the wisdom that is from above is first pure. That is good enough. But then he left from there, he said, then peaceable. Now, we see that because we are running our marriages on the wisdom of this world, check marriages around you today. There is absolutely no peace. But the wisdom that is from above caters for peace in marriages. This is one of the things that is scarce in marriages today. We don't have peace in marriages. People are hurting, people are crying, and people are even dying in marriages because there is no peace. And then he went further to say, gentle. This is the wisdom that is from above. The wisdom that when you make God preeminence, you give him his rightful position in your marriage. This is the wisdom that you begin to enjoy, and he will give you the spiritual insight as to how to use this wisdom. He said gentle. Now, the Bible says that the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. Now, there is no way gentleness and foolishness goes together. So the wisdom of this world cannot be gentle, but the wisdom of God is gentle, is meek, is unique, is powerful, gentle. And then he went further, he said, willing to yield. Now, these are words that men in traditional marriages do not know. And these are words that women in Western marriages do not know. They are not able to yield. There is no willingness to come down. Nobody is able to come down in a Western marriage because they are all boss for themselves. That is the wisdom that they are running Western marriages with. You can't tell me anything. I do what I feel like doing. You do what you feel like doing, but we are married. That is a faulty foundation and a corrupted wisdom already. And in the traditional and cultural setting, men are not able to yield because men have been exalted as God, even to the point where they want to be more than the Most High God. So men are not able to come down in traditional and cultural wisdom of marriage. So willing to yield, that is a wisdom that is from above. So when you come to the place where you know that your partner, you are co-heir with your partner, you will be willing to come down for this person's sake. And if you look at the word understanding, that is in two words. So under and standing. So when the both of you are standing, you will crash. So one need to come under and one need to stand in order for you people to understand. Understand. But we have people in marriages today that are not willing to yield. They all want to stand as the boss. Nobody wants to come down. That is a challenge, and that is a wisdom that people are running their marriages with. And the end result is destruction, pure destruction. And he went further, he said, full of mercy. Oh my God. If you know the amount of bitterness, unforgiveness in marriages today, you will start interceding for this institution. There is so much bitterness, there is so much hurt, and there is so much unforgiveness. And the wisdom that is full of mercy, which is from God, is not finding expression in our marriages today. Very sad. But if you are able to come to that place where you get on the journey to know God, to understand God, and make Him preeminence, He will whisper to you, and you are able to forgive. You are able to have mercy and show mercy on your partner. That is a wisdom that you will have to come to the place where you have a relationship with Him, for Him to take you into the corridor of spiritual insight. Full of mercy, but the wisdom out there is creating hurt, bitterness, and people are deceiving each other. People are manipulating each other. So there is so much chaos. There is absolutely no understanding. And because of that, nobody is able to have mercy on their partner. Very key. And then he went further, he said, and good fruits. Now, if we begin to scale marriages according to good fruits, you won't find 10 in your city. You will not find 10 marriages that have yield good fruit in your city. You won't find 10. So I say these things for us to our eyes to be open, number one, get back to the design of the wisdom of God, but most importantly, for us to take our marriages seriously, that we walk with the wisdom of God and intercede for the others. Very, very key. He said, and good fruit. So when we come to the place where we are able to bear good fruit, where our marriage comes to the place where it reflects Christ, where it reflects the fruit of the Spirit, where people can see love, patience, gentleness. When people can see these things, we are bearing good fruit. But check the marriages of believers. We cannot even find Christ in it. We cannot see Jesus in it. Good fruit. And then he went further to say, without partiality and without hypocrisy. You see, this is very, very key. This is very, very key. We see a lot of favoritism in marriage. And we see that some look at themselves better than their partners. We see the wisdom that the world is showing us to follow is that some people, most especially men look at themselves better than their wives. That is not the wisdom from God. And that is the wisdom that many are running their marriages on. So if you look at the institution of marriage, you look at marriages around you, you will see that it's almost that marriage was created just for men, and women were just thrown in to just follow and do whatever he says. So without partiality and without hypocrisy, so we need to come to the place where we stop looking at ourselves as better than our partner. Favoritism not meant to be in the equation. So when we're able to come back to the design and the designer and make him preeminence in our marriages, we will see the good fruits of it. Christ will be glorified. Christ will be seen. Christ will be the center of it. That when we see your marriage, we see where it's going, we see where it's headed, we see purpose, and we see God in it clearly. Now, the wisdom to run your marriage lies in your reverence of God and your ability to make him preeminence in your marriage. I'll do that again. The wisdom to run your marriage lies in your reverence of God and the ability to make him preeminence in your marriage. It is only then you will have the wisdom from him to run your marriage. Now, but the spiritual insight he will give you to know when to talk and when to be quiet. That is wisdom. If you check marriages today, many do not even know when to speak. They do not know when to be quiet. If you follow the wisdom of God, you will know when to say sorry and when to pray. Some people will hurt their partner. Instead of saying sorry, they want to go and start praying. Oh, we are not making light of prayer. Prayer is, in fact, I will call prayer everything in this realm. But wisdom will tell you that say sorry. Don't go and pray, because sometimes if you go and pray, you become hypocrite. That would be very hypocritical. Instead of just saying sorry, you want to go and pray. What are you praying? What are you praying for? Who are you praying to? The one that you're praying to, he has given you. If you follow his design, the wisdom will say, go back and say sorry. And that is only when your heart will be settled, your mind will be focused to even pray to him. Very important. You see, when we follow the wisdom of God, it will bring us to the place that we know when to go to the other room and when to go to fast. We have some super spiritual people, and they have neglected wisdom. And what they do is that they will see a very good moment for them to go into the other room and butterfly, but they will choose to go to fast. Sir, man, we understand. we know that that is good. That is powerful. Thank you for fasting for the family and for yourself. But you see, wisdom demands that you go to the other room now and you go and fast later. Sometimes it's like that. Very, very key. So sometimes you simply just need to say sorry instead of coming to the place where you want to spiritualize things. But those things will not be given to you if God is not preeminence, if He is not the foundation. He created this institution. He knows the in and out of this institution. He designed it. He has the template. He has the blueprint. So He's able to guide you in every step of the way, that you will succeed and you will produce good fruit by the wisdom of God, which is the fear of the Lord, the beginning of wisdom. God bless you. I pray that you walk in wisdom that is from above, the one that will bring you to the place where you know when to speak and when not to know with spiritual intelligence and spiritual insight when to run, when to stay, to know when to withdraw. I pray for you that the wisdom of God will shadow you, and you will begin to listen to the prompting of the Spirit of God in you, and your life and your marriage will never be the same. In Jesus' name. God bless you, and we'll see you in a bit.